So my name is Andrew Tinker. I'm your music and arts director here, and I wanted to share an original song with you that'll set up our talk today. It is a song about breaking free of the ties that bind us and stepping into freedom. Let's say goodbye to these bright city lights and the silence of these cold and lonely roads. The nightlife is calling to her sons and to her daughters, and her song echoes out through my bones. The moon in the sky is a ghost sign from heaven that knows what's ahead of where we've been. So join in the race to the glow of the morning, and I'll see you where the daylight begins. And let it ride, let it ride. Lord knows it's been quiet, but the music never died. Let it ride, let it ride. Starlight in the heaven be our guide. Let's say goodbye to this life of the broken, whose shackles bind a man to his grave. Moving as one with the children of freedom, steady as the endless ocean wave. No matter the peril, we are sisters, we are brothers, flying down the road that knows no end. Always drawing closer to the edge of the morning, and I'll see you where the daylight begins. So let it ride, let it ride. Lord knows it's been quiet, but the music never died. Let it ride, oh let it ride. Starlight in the heaven be our guide. Let it ride, oh let it ride. Lord knows it's been quiet, but the music never died. Let it ride, oh let it ride. Starlight in the heaven be our guide. Let it ride. Starlight in the heaven be our guide. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yay. Thank you so much, Andrew Tinker. Let it ride. Decide to let it ride. Decide to break free. Decide. Today we're talking about decide to live richly. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Are you waiting for an engraved invitation to live richly? You already got one. Did you know that? You got your engraved invitation when you were born. Your engraved invitation to live richly was you showing up on the planet to express the one infinite life, to give the gift, the contribution that is only yours to give, to show up as uniquely and preciously as you. And the more fully we embrace the truth of who we are, the more fully we embrace the reality of life, the more fully we embrace this vast, infinite consciousness that is the truth of our being, the more fully we live a rich life. Now, living richly goes way beyond just money, goes way beyond prosperity. Living richly is that full, rich experience of life that may or may not have anything to do with how much money we have. But money does help, doesn't it? And it is challenging to live richly when we are feeling challenged by our money, is it not? Yes. So we have our annual theme this year, Keep It Real. Really trying to keep this conversation at a level of reality. This is not just theoretical pie-in-the-sky, Pollyannish thinking, oh, let's be happy. Oh, let's just, have a nice thought. This is a powerful, deep, profound spiritual practice that we're talking about. And sometimes it's really challenging. I can talk about it and talk about it and talk about it from a theoretical point of view, but I think it really, really allows us to feel the realness of it when we get to hear other people's stories and how they have decided to live richly in their own lives and how they have moved through that and that a little bit about that process and the result of that process. So you're going to hear from a couple of our community members who I've had the privilege of observing over these last few years, who have shared their story with me and who have been willing to share their story with you this morning in this process of deciding to live richly. So the very first person we're going to bring up here is Randy Hunt. Randy, come on up here.
Good morning, everyone. Hi. The first decision that Carl and I made about 5.5 years ago, we were in a crossroads of our life and really were looking for a spiritual home. We made the decision to find a spiritual home. We ended up here and we knew that we had found what we were looking for. So that was decision one. Decision two, after we arrived, was to participate fully in classes, volunteering, and especially going to the practitioners after service. That meant so much to us. We needed that jump start to our evolution, to our spiritual evolution, and it made all the difference in the world to us. And every month we go to practitioner Sandra Francis and get that ongoing tune-up and spiritual mind treatment. And then a couple of years after volunteering in classes and seeing what was happening around the center, I had the idea that maybe it would be good to have a group of people who could hold the prosperity consciousness of the center, and a group that didn't have to think about budgets or spending or income. And so I went to Reverend Petra with my idea after thinking about it for a little bit, and she thought it was a great idea, and she said, "Do you want to do it?" And I said, yes. I was very, had trepidation, but jumped in. And so the Prosperity Corps came about, and it's been a wonderful 2 years. We have wonderful members, Corps members, and every month we provide a prosperity affirmation on the intranet and to certain corps. And our purpose, I'm just going to give the first line of our purpose.
I'll read the whole thing, it's really great.
Okay. To synchronize the prosperity consciousness of CSLDallas with the reality of truth, creating a channel through which the mystical flow may do its powerful work. To hold the prosperity consciousness for CSLDallas, for all community members and participants, and for staff. To have this consciousness have an outward effect in our local community. And the Prosperity Corps, we meet every month, we pray every month, we hold the consciousness for all of you, and it's just been wonderful, and we're looking forward to a fantastic 2015. And in 2014, I was having, on a personal side, I was having a conversation about money and prosperity that I wanted to shift, and I took on an affirmation. The short version of is, abundance is mine. I cannot be deprived of my supply, for I'm a child of the Spirit. And every attribute of it, every attribute of good is my inheritance. And this has, Carl and I have been saying it together every morning for 2014, and it's made such a difference in opening things up in our lives. And from the opening that happened in my life, in June, I got another of those ideas I sometimes get, and this was because I had received a very small unexpected income, a quarter in fact, but it got me to thinking about unexpected income and attracting unexpected income and the giving and receiving and tithing from unexpected income. So I thought, wouldn't it be great if we had something in the community regarding unexpected income? And I went to Reverend Petra again, and she loved the idea, and after talking about it, and taking it to the Prosperity Corps, and there was some conversation about timing and everything, but after at first looking at when we could have it, I made the decision and went with September. So for the whole month of September, 75 people signed up for the Unexpected Income Club. We had all kinds of great demonstrations during that 4-week time. We had meetings after every service, second service. We had people get new jobs, get extra jobs, get financial demonstrations, gifts of all kind, refunds. So it was just a wonderful 4 weeks. And the group that's coming, the members of the Unexpected Income Club, decided to keep it going on a monthly basis. So now we meet on the first Sunday of the month, and both the Prosperity Corps and the Unexpected Income Club were decisions that have really made a difference. I think they really made a difference to me, but to everyone else as well. And there was just one thing that I wanted to add to that is I think when I got the idea for the Unexpected Income Club, it was like a vibrational spark that just got lit within me, and it wouldn't let go. And so I had to keep pressing on with it no matter what happened. And I was so blessed to have the support of Reverend Petra, Reverend Karen, the Prosperity Corps, and everyone who joined the club and participated in it. And so I would say that most of my rich decisions or living richly decisions have come from participating in my spiritual practices and in life and having ideas that I dwell on and then I follow up on and then just say yes to. Yeah.
And when she says she dwells on them, she does not let them go. She will not be moved from her decisions, and it's been really wonderful to watch the results in Carl and Randy's personal lives as Randy has just made these decisions. And when she made the decision for the Prosperity Corps, as many of you know, for those of you who were around a few years ago, we were still a little bit in the financial doldrums. And it was so amazing a year ago to be able to go to the Prosperity Corps and say, because of your prayers, your intention, your decision to have this corps, we have turned this ship. Well, I don't know about turned it around, but we've really kick-started it again, and we've really seen the results. And it is because Randy made a decision. And she is very modest and doesn't necessarily take that on in the way that's really true. One person made a decision, and it has affected all of us in an amazing way. So we're really, really grateful to you, Randy, for that and for just sticking with it. So when we talk about prosperity, we talk about money, Raymond Charles Barker asks the question, well, what is prosperity? And he answers to this: prosperity is a state of consciousness which can be generated by you when you let money be a means and not an end. Not getting money for the sake of getting money, but getting money for the sake of living richly, for the sake of contributing, for the sake of giving the very precious and unique gift that you are, for the sake of expressing the life that Spirit wants to express through you. He says this: money is God in action, a means by which the infinite circulates in my world of affairs, giving me ease and joy. The means by which the infinite circulates in my world of affairs, giving me ease and joy. And how many of us do not have ease and joy around our money? We stress about it, we struggle about it, we have challenges with it, and that challenge shrinks our consciousness around money. And do you see, the more that we focus on what we don't have, or the more that we focus on the issues of the challenges of money, we are actually shrinking our consciousness as opposed to expanding it into this place where we talked about in the last couple of weeks. I am pure intelligence. I am consciousness. Spirit is expressing itself as me, in me, through me. These are expansive thoughts. These are the thoughts that grow us. We have a tendency to go the other direction. Now, lest you think that I am simply providing you with theoretical knowledge or theoretical information, we have people in our community who are walking this walk, who have walked it. You can walk this walk yourself. And there's nobody better to tell her story and to share this process with you than our practitioner, Sherry Wood. Sherry, come on up here.
Wow, there's a lot of you here. Good morning. It's good to see you all. So yes, my decision to live richly. It's a joint decision with my beloved partner, Christine, but I'm going to be speaking from my part of it this morning. So in this great book, The Power of Decision, that we're all loving this month, Raymond Charles Barker makes the statement in the opening chapter that the majority of people do not live fully engaged in their lives, that we live half lives. We live half happy, half healthy, half wealthy. And for a good part of my life growing up, that was my experience. I got the message when I was young that, Sherry, that's how the other half lives. And I was like, wow, I want to be in that half. How do I get to that? How do I get to that half? I don't want to stay in this half. Like somehow there was a dividing line. It was written in stone. It wasn't attainable. You know, there wasn't even a possibility. So I grew up with unconscious, those seeds that were planted that developed into unconscious beliefs that drove how I handled and managed my money into young adulthood, into marriage, and, you know, and going forward. It wasn't until I came here to CSLDallas that I was awakened to that there was a new possibility. There was a new possibility for how I viewed myself, how I manage money, and how money could be a means to an end in my life. I always thought that I was the source. It was dependent on me. It was what job I had. It was how much I got paid. It was how I could juggle from here to there. And what I realized through a slow process here of taking classes, of really diving into the teachings of Edwin Gaines, of Raymond Charles Barker, of Catherine Ponder, of Ernest Holmes. I mean, I was like a sponge. I was hungry for it because I know that I needed it. I wanted it because I knew there was something greater. I knew there was a different way of being in relation to money. And it's a good thing. I wanted it, you know, and I wanted to use it for good in my life, in the lives of my children, in the lives of my, you know, people that I care about. So I started with classes, you know, and I went through Inward Journey. My nose was pressed up against it, and really had some great breakthroughs, even through practitioner training. And then finally, I got to Financial Freedom. And this is a shameless plug for Financial Freedom that Christine and I are going to teach next month. But it truly was one of the best classes I've ever taken here at the center. It truly changed the way that I view money, that I take up money, and it was all along this process. It was decision after decision after decision to do it differently, to look at it differently, to want to do it differently. And financial freedom was like the final building block in that foundation that I had been building all along. So once that realization set in, Christine and I made the decision, we wanted financial freedom, period. That was it. And so we set that intention. We gathered some friends. We did visioning. We started using our spiritual tools. We took what we got from the visioning, which was flow, ease, grace, joy. But the one that really stuck with me was sustained effort. Because this was a journey. It wasn't an overnight magic, take a magic pill, and everything's better. All your debt's gone, you know, you're prosperous. Didn't work like that in my experience. So we took the visioning and then we started working it. We had a financial planner, God love him, that has held our hand for 10 years. He gave us a roadmap, and sometimes he would look at us and he'd go, I don't know how in the heck you're going to get there. I really don't. But we kept at it because our intentions were firm, and we became more firmly grounded in our financial truth, in the knowingness that God is source. My job's not my source. Unexpected income is great, but it's not my source. God is my source. And once I was so firmly grounded in that I could not be moved, my whole life changed. I mean, it really changed in ways that I can't even describe to y'all. But along the way, there was that trust in the process. If I just keep moving, if I keep one foot in front of the other, it's that sustained effort. And that, you know, I keep this by my desk. The results of our visioning from 6 years ago are still by my desk because they're as true today as they were then. And the last piece of it then is the spiritual practice. You tie it all together with your spiritual practice. And for me, that is spiritual mind treatment, and it's tithing. I can't stand here and tell you it would be out of integrity for me to say that it's not important to tithe or that your funds should be directed other ways, because for me, it's the commitment to this community. This community gave me the tools to stand here today, to stand here to be so firmly grounded in this truth. And I arm wrestled with our financial planner for about 2 years because he didn't want me to tithe. He wanted me to take that chunk of money and put it towards debt. He wanted me to pay off other things. And I said, no, I will not. This comes first, and then we pay off the other things. And really, I'm so deeply grateful for that teaching, for that truth, because I can stand here today in financial freedom. Christine and I are debt-free. We have paid off all our loans. We have paid off our credit cards. We have money in savings. We have 401ks. And we're able to travel and do the things that we've dreamed of doing. And it's all possible because of that decision, because of the shift in consciousness, and the absolute rock-bottom faith that truly all things are possible. Thank you.
I think at the first service, Sherry described it as a mountain of debt that was walked through. And so what we see is, thank you so much, Randy and Sherry, we see the power of the decision. And do you see the decision isn't magic? But it is. It's not a magic fix. It doesn't mean it's going to happen overnight, but it shifts everything. And that decision is based on not just purely an outer form of, oh, I want to make more money and I want to have more stuff. We all know that ultimately stuff isn't what makes us happy. It's the life that makes us happy, the rich experience of life. And if we are burdened by debt, if we are burdened by our own sense of unworthiness, do you see, we aren't free. We aren't free to have that rich experience of life. Not every experience costs lots of money. Some of them do, but it's the sum total of all of that. And it's not only what we get, but it is what we contribute, what we give. And you see, that's the very reason that we're here is to be that conduit, to be the conduit for that expression of a rich life. Raymond Charles Barker, he says this, it all starts with God's desire. It all starts with God's desire. And what is God's desire? Only through expression can God's abundant life be lived. Only through the expression of life. Through you and me. In order for God to have total self-expression, it has to have total givingness. It gives itself fully and freely into and through all of creation so that it can express itself. Do you see? When we say, I am consciousness, I am pure intelligence, that's what we're talking about. I am, the I am that I am, is that it expressing as us and giving itself fully and completely to us. And do you see, when Randy and Sherry so beautifully shared with us, neither one of them said, oh, I went out and I arm wrestled for a promotion. I didn't win the lottery. Nobody had to die to give me money. These are all possible avenues for money to come to us, prosperity to come to us, but fundamentally the place to start is the expansion in consciousness. Do you see? It's the expansion in understanding who we really are, what's really going on here. And when I can expand to embrace that the whole point is spirit seeking to express itself fully and richly through me and as me, the more that I expand, the more of that rich life I have to share, to give, to experience, and to express. Do you see? But when we're in doubt or fear or worry, we're contracting. We're closing it in. We're closing it down. And we're beginning to rely more and more on our own human self. So he says this thing. I had to read this sentence more than once. He says this thing. You are the taker from the infinite in order to be the giver to the finite. Yeah. You are the taker from the infinite in order to be the giver to the finite. Now, we don't really like this word taker, do we? It's not a word. We were always told, don't take your brother's things. Don't take your sister's stuff. Don't be a taker. Be a giver. And so we soften it. We talk about receiving and allowing, which is all really great, but it gives the power to spirit, right? We're going to open ourselves up. Whatever you want to give me, God, it's fine. I'll work with it. I know. Why do I know? Because I have done it too. Hello. But to be a taker from the infinite, to pull it in, to be excited about it, to really say, yes, give me more, not so that I become a stagnant pool, but because that is in order to give it out. To give it in many different ways, as tithing, as saying, no, I want to have a prosperity core. I want to do this. I want to give this thing. I want to build this business. I want to create these jobs. I want to paint this painting. I want to raise my children. Do you see? We are a taker from the infinite in order to be a giver to the finite. We're not taking from each other. We're not taking from the finite. We're taking from the rich and abundant expression of life that is seeking to pour itself through you. I have fabulous quotes. We'll have to save them till Wednesday night because I don't have time to read them from the platform. So that's a shameless plug for Wednesday night. And I support the shameless plug for financial freedom. It is truly one of the best classes we teach here, bar none. And if you want to be financially free, sign up for that class. So it starts with God's desire. You take that, you take that desire in, consciously take it in, so that you can express it, and it grows with our desire to be who we are, to express whatever it is that is growing within us that wants to be poured out into the world. So our desire, he says, is our potential waiting for our attention. Our desire is potential waiting for our attention. Mostly, our desire is thwarted by indecision. We're either too busy, too lazy, or too tired. I love Cherry's words, sustained effort, the discipline that it takes to make the decision. And then to stick with the decision and to get all the support you need to live the decision. So I want to close with this thought, and I want to remind you to come on Wednesday night so we can go deeper and deeper into this together with Reverend Kieran and Tracy Brown as we really dive more into this. I'm going to close with this. I thought this was a beautiful quote from Raymond Charles Barker, and we're just going to take this into our closing thought. And he writes this: all things add to your wealth of mind and emotions. The luminosity of God pervades your whole consciousness, and you know that heaven is this earth, and you are it. Allowing that luminosity of God to expand our consciousness to be the truth of our being, we simply open up and decide to live richly. And so it is.
My name is Bladen, and this is the junior church, and today we talked about finding the quiet place inside of you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Wow. Thank you. Okay, and let's pass it right here. Don't forget to say your name.
My name's Elena, and we talked about finding a quiet place inside.
Yay, beautiful.